Guys, welcome to this particular special Navigate session. We are halfway through the calendar year, and for the Australians online, this is the end of the financial year, the beginning of a new financial year. We've had a lot behind us now and a lot in front of us. And one of the metaphors, and you know, any clients who have tuned in, I'm sure you've heard me talk about this before, is the windscreen and the rear vision mirror. So the windscreen is, what are we looking out? What are we actually seeing in our future? And the rear vision mirror is that reflection point looking back. So it's okay to look back and reflect, but we need to spend most of the time looking forward as to where we're heading. And as simple as that metaphor is, if we had a rear vision mirror the size of the windscreen, so most of the time we're looking back and we've just got this little window out to see the future, it would be difficult for us to see and navigate. So the simple concept with this is, how do we actually see our future view? And by the way, for you, and importantly your team, you are looking for that future view. They are looking for you to say, do we have a plan? What is our plan? How do we navigate through this? So, you know, this whole series is called Navigate, to be able to, maybe we can start using the word capitalize now. So capitalize on the opportunities that exist in the marketplace. So today, what I've designed for you is a strategy session that has a couple of projects for you to do after this to further develop and enhance your plan. We're going to walk through some insights, and then I'm going to give you a couple of tools that'll be able to be effective. By the way, if you haven't already received the email about downloading the growth plan template, the link is also in the chat there for you if you want to click on that to download it. So I've got some slides. We'll actually bring the slides up right now and jump into it. Okay. By the way, can everyone hear me okay? Just checking in. Can I just get a little thumbs up? Yes. Okay. Awesome. 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 So certainly this whole series is about helping you navigate through some uncharted waters. Thanks guys for letting me know that. And it is about your future and what does it look like. One of the things that is big, and I'm working with a lot of my clients on at the moment, is what is your strategy? And strategy has a number of components to it. You can start to see some right there on this particular slide. But the ultimate with this is getting clear on strategy answers the question for me, what's the plan? What's the plan? What's the plan? What's the plan? And your team are asking what your plan is. And by the way, if we have a level of confusion, we're not going to achieve the best possible result. So this is designed to get things into flow and put things into perspective. I do want to talk about reframing what COVID-19 means to me. So the C in COVID means commitment. And there's no question we've been challenged in terms of our commitment. Who are we? What are we about? What are we truly committed to achieving? The second thing that I believe that COVID actually means for me, and this is me reframing it, is opportunity. Where's the opportunity? And starting to look and see, what does the opportunity look like in our marketplace to be able to capitalize and add value to our clients, our team, and ultimately to the business and yourselves. The next is vision. It's challenging our vision. This time has said, are you truly committed to this? Is this the vision that you actually have for your business? And for some, it's a reassessment of that to be able to get clarity. The I is for innovation. So how are we actually applying the innovation within our business? Yes, through greater technology. Yes, through maybe letting some things go that we were doing and replacing them with a more effective 2022 strategy to be able to capitalize on. And the final is drive. So what's your level of drive? I had a session with the team earlier this morning, and I talked about the concept of NBE. NBE stands for New Business Energy. And how can we apply this new business energy to give us the best bang for the buck, that return on investment, that momentum with this? So if we look at this then, COVID-19 for me is challenging our commitment, challenging do we see the opportunity rather than the problem? Can we actually therefore reassess or refine our vision even further? So we see clearly that pathway forward, innovation, how we're embracing it, and finally our personal drive, the energy that we're bringing into play. So it's a nice little reframe. I'd be more than happy if you put that up somewhere. I've got it on my whiteboard directly in front of me here. So it's this neat reminder and reinforcer to say, this is what it actually means to me. Just a quick one I wanted to put in place up front to help you with that. So next important point that I'd like to talk about is change. It's happening there, and it's the old way, the new way. And I talked about this with some clients yesterday, actually, that there are some agents and leaders who are playing what I call the when-then game. When everything goes back to normal, then everything will be great. So I'm waiting for the old way to return. I'm suggesting that this is the new way. This is the new market. And we've heard in the media and other people talking about the new normal. This is the new normal. So we don't need to be fit for a market that doesn't exist. We need to be fit for the market that exists right now. And sure, putting the energy and the effort and the things in play to capitalize on this and make sure we achieve the best outcome possible. So the new way is literally, how are we race fit, game ready for the market conditions that exist right now at this point in time? Now, as part of that, I'd like to share with you some awareness points. And there's 10 points here that I think in your planning process for the next 6-12 months are very important to take on board. So let's go through them. The first one is real estate as a market. This is a great one to reinforce with your team. Occasionally, they've forgotten real estate's a market. Now, what do we know about markets? Markets go up, markets go down. If I bought Qantas shares in February this year and I wanted to sell Qantas shares today, I would be selling them based on the market conditions. This is the exact same thing in terms of real estate. And I think why this is so important is many times people get, I'm not sure if confused is the right word, but they get confused that they expect that every single time they sell a property, they make a wonderful thing called a profit. Real estate's a market. We need to respond to the market conditions. The second thing is client expectations are growing. So without a doubt, what a client is now expecting to be delivered and done for them is incredibly important. And truly what has happened is I'm no longer comparing your real estate agency to another real estate agency. I'm comparing my best service experience I've got in any field with what you're actually delivering in real estate. The health and economic impacts, we've got to be aware of those in our planning. So we're not out of this thing yet, and we're not out of it from an economic point of view. So we need to have an awareness point with that. What I'm loving about it now is that we were in a mode in business, if we needed something done, we'd typically add people. Now we're actually looking at how do we redeploy people? How do we reskill people? And can we utilize technology? Can we utilize outsourcing to improve the efficiency of the way we do business? Number 4 is an interesting one. Mergers are on the rise, acquisitions are on the rise, consolidations are on the rise. So, you know, that competitor that you would not talk to in the street, that competitor could actually become a colleague in a new model of real estate. So just be aware that you will see opportunities in the marketplace that haven't been around before. The average age of principals in the Australian and New Zealand marketplace is sitting at 55 years of age. That's interesting because people are looking at, well, what is their exit? Are they ready for this? Are they up for this? There are some leaders who've gone through a very small, what would you call it? They've decided that I can run a real estate business, but as this has all occurred, they've realized, hang on a tick, I'm better off being a listing and selling agent. So I'd like to roll my 20, 30, 120 properties under management into your business and start to actually do the thing that I absolutely love to do. So just an awareness point. Next, a talent shortage definitely exists within the real estate profession, and therefore we have got some retention issues. It's not a case of your team are not being approached. They are being approached. You just need to make sure that your place is the best place for their real estate career to be lived out. Next is some new models being launched, and I'm sure you're aware of those. And some of them are touting that they're the best thing since sliced bread. How unusual! Just remember that if you were launching your business today, how would you frame up your model? Have you reinforced that with your existing team? Have you done some re-recruiting with them, as well as with the overall marketplace, how great it is to be part of your particular agency? Next is lead generators are taking fees. Now, the key thing is we are either going to do a better job of nurturing our relationships and generating business, or the lead generators are going to come to us and say, excuse me, we'd like to take 20% of your fee. Now, what I'm saying is the best in the business as an awareness point, we've got to strengthen those relationships and make that a super effective model. Many are starting to move towards a concierge model, a customer service model where we're taking away the complete responsibility of client nurture from our agents and starting to make it a function of the business. That adds value to our agents. It adds value to the business. It actually adds value to the clients as well. The next one is compliance issues. Now, from a compliance point of view, we're seeing a rise. There's no question that there's an impact on that. And it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when there's a compliance issue coming your way. So how do you make sure you're fit and ready for that? Clearly pressure on fees. I am thinking that we might see a diminishing pressure on fees, but I don't think we're going to see that in the immediate short term. And if we're not delivering a great value proposition, guarantee the client is going to go to fees. And I've said many, many times to agents, fees are the thing that clients feel most comfortable challenging your agents on. And if they haven't got a compelling case why they're worth the fee that you're ideally wanting, then it's going to be a race to the bottom in terms of fees. So it's how do you actually establish that? And I can show you some fantastic examples across Australia and New Zealand where fees are in the marketplace might be down 0.5%, but this particular agency is up 0.5% on those fees. And it's a clear indication that they're focused on value creation for the clients and for themselves. And the final one here is boutique area specialists. Now, you might be an independent or you might be part of a franchise or part of a group, but what the key thing here is how do you integrate your brand into the community? So this is what I call community brand integration. So it's how do we integrate your brand in a super effective way into being perceived by the marketplace as a boutique area specialist. And in doing so, that means you become hyper-local, you're delivering amazing value to clients. And when we look at it, most people are not looking to buy and sell. So we need to have service, we need to have support in the overall focus from there. Now, I'll just jump out of this for a moment, guys. So one of the things that if you look at this, that it's a very simple framework to be able to say, all right, have we considered these particular points? Are there any opportunities there? Are there any challenges there in those particular awareness points? If there are, let's do something about it in our planning so we can proactively have a look at moving this forward. I'm just going to pause for a moment and check in any questions. And I do need to put my glasses on. It's one of those things, finding glasses is always interesting. So I can just actually read your comments coming through. I can't see where you can download the document. Let me just pop that link in again. There you go, Leanne. Hopefully that you've got that link that's come through. Okay, fantastic. Leanne, if you could just give me a thumbs up that you're able to get that one, that would be fantastic. All right. So let's jump back into the PowerPoints and look at the next frame. And did that come through, Leanne? I've sent it through to you just on to all panelists. Let's actually change that to, this might make a difference. Okay. Okay, fantastic. Awesome. We have link, will travel. Brilliant. So going on from there in terms of those awareness points, what we do want to have a look at is your overall implementation strategy. Now, this is a framework that we apply with our clients. So my goal isn't to overwhelm you with this, but my goal is certainly to give you a healthy framework of the different stages and different modes or phases of the planning process to bring into play. So I'm sure you've heard me or someone talk about the concept of current reality and also desired reality. I'm just going to check something here right now. Yep, it's looking good. Current reality and the desired reality. What that creates in the middle there is a gap. And the ultimate plan is to how do we bridge that gap in the most effective way? By the way, no gap, no tension for change, because the technical term is attention for change. So if your current reality and desired reality are overlaid, not much tension for change. If we've got some perspective here, it allows us to get this movement towards. By the way, if your desired reality, if you're currently sitting at 5% market share and you go out to your team and say, guys, we want to be at 50% market share this time next year, that will probably, like a rubber band, it's too much of a stretch for people and it'll snap. At the same way, if we're at 5%, we say we're going to go for 7.5%, there's not much tension for change of opportunity and moving forward. What we therefore know, it's about you having an effective growth plan to close the gap from where you are to where you want to get to. This is the mindset that I'd love you to be in. Now, a couple of points. I would suggest the last 3 months, the vast majority of leaders in real estate have been in a reactive, responsive mindset underneath the current reality. And it was totally appropriate, totally appropriate. On the flip side, the desired reality, when we're focused on that, it's more a proactive, creative mindset where we're looking into the future. So working in the business versus working on the business as a framework. And effectively, the reactive tension is a move away from, the proactive tension is a move towards. So that's the complete model as a framework that we're working on. Therefore, I absolutely endorse the fact that when we start to look at the reactive tension, that reactive responsive mindset, it's a fixing energy. What do we need to fix? What do we need to put in place? What do we need to get right in order for us to move forward? On the flip side of that, the desired reality is, okay, what do we see the sales team looking like? I asked this question of a team earlier this morning. What do you see the team looking like at the end of 2021? Man, I haven't been thinking about that. That's the exact point, and why coaching is so important to help you shift from the current reality to the desired reality. Not saying that we shouldn't be addressing the immediate issues now, but you spent the last 3 months really focused on the immediate issues, and your team are asking the question, where are we heading? What does it look like? What's the big future? That's the desired reality that you need to, create, design, communicate to the team, because I talk about it being shared and understood by everyone in the team. So this would be looking at, say, what do we see property management looking like? How do we want to actually shift up our listing appointment in the future? What are the key things that will actually drive our service to another level? These are all future and toward kind of questions around getting clarity on the business evolving, developing, and improving. Now, I'm just going to take a sip of my tea with that and sort of sit on that just for a moment and say, okay, I totally get it. Yep, this reactive tension is alive and well. On the flip side of it, let's get clear on the proactive side of it. So I'm going to share a model with you in a moment that I believe allows you to see that proactivity. Before we do that though, what I'd love to do is firstly look at a current reality strategy, and it is simply called a SWOT analysis. Now, we are going to send you a document after the webinar, guys, which is a SWOT planning tool. I'm going to share with you and show you what that actually looks like. But effectively, in your business right now, there are positives and there are negatives. Be okay with it, every business. We go and have a look at Apple computer. Apple, there's positives and there are negatives. There's a past and there's a future for the business. So a positive from the past that we still have today, we call a strength. A negative from the past that we still have today, we call it a weakness. A future positive, we call an opportunity, and a future negative, we would call a threat. So I'm sure this is not the first time you've heard of SWOT, but many, many times people haven't seen this navigation framework that helps us understand why we do this. And it allows us to look at our business in a very, very effective way. So a strength, what do we want to do with the strength? Well, how do we capitalize on that? How do we maximize that? If that's producing this many listings, could we go to another level? If that's working really well in property management, how do we actually put more energy into that? And if we put more energy into it, would it become an even stronger strength for us in our business? On the weakness side of it, what are we going to do about these? Can we minimize them? Can we eliminate them? Or can we turn them from a weakness into a strength in the next 6-12 months? Opportunities, it allows us to be forward-looking out the windscreen and starting to see where are the opportunities. By the way, typically the biggest opportunity I focus on with clients firstly is how do we minimize or reduce the weaknesses in the business. If we've got a weakness in terms of service delivery, it's the biggest opportunity we've got is to address that and turn it from a weakness to a strength. And then similarly, the threats out there, future negative, what threats exist. And I'm aware, guys, there's a lot of different threats. What we might do is in a team session say, well, what are the threats that exist? okay, given that they're the threats that we're aware of, let's actually start to pace these. And we're either going to minimize them, we're going to be aware of them, or we're going to maybe even have a plan B. If that did occur, here's what we would activate and put into place. Now, given that framework, what I'd love to do very, very quickly with you is to share with you the document that we are going to send you. Effectively, it's a SWOT framework for you to take on board, to run a session with your team. That could be the leadership team, a collection of your team, your MVPs, your most valuable players. You might get them into a session and run through it. So you can send this document to them to get their thoughts into gear before we go through it. It's about a 7-8 page document, but one of the things that I've done in here is created a series of key questions on the SWOT for you. So strength questions, weakness questions, opportunity questions, and threat questions. So it's a great tool to be able to bring that into play and start to see that work. How long would I have a session? No more than an hour, but you're probably going to do a 45-minute kind of a session. Send this out to the team beforehand so they're clear on what they're coming to a meeting for, to really gain an understanding of how we can actually add value to the business by almost doing that detailed analysis. Now, if you think about it, the strengths and weaknesses, that's the current reality view. Opportunities and threats are a future view coming in. So we want to bring those two views into it to be able to see how we can capitalize and make that happen. All right. So hopefully you found that of value. It's a simple framework, but I do believe it's going to be very, very effective for you. Now, where are we at right now? Yeah, let's bring up the growth imperatives. So if you've downloaded the document, you'll see a really mini sheet of these on the plan. In fact, let me just jump out before we go into it. And I'll stop the share. So hopefully you've got this view. The idea of this is it becomes a threefold. Best, I printed this A4, given printers at home only can print A4, but the best is to do this on an A3. So what you've got here is some just cool planning frameworks on the front, on the back, and on the inside fold. What you'll see there is you've got those growth imperatives. So you've got them already with it, but we are going to walk through them just to put it into place. A place for you to note down your key learnings and insights that have come out of the first 6 months of this year. And then importantly, on the inside is the actual framework for your one-page plan. Now, in case you're wondering, yes, we do have a 21-page growth plan. Two things. One, I've never seen an agency complete a 21-page growth plan. Second thing, I've never seen them go back to a 21-page growth plan. So even though it seems conceptually a great idea, the whole idea of this is to simplify this into a one-page plan that allows you to see where are we heading and what do we want to achieve. Now, from the 12-month view, which is what this plan is I truly believe to come back to what is our focus for the next 90 days. So even though there's a spot there on your plan for 10 key projects, it's actually coming back to say, what are the 3, 4, or maximum 5 projects we're putting in place for this first quarter of the year to start to build some effective momentum. And of course, there's another category there called quick wins. What are some quick wins we can put in place? Typically coming out of the SWOT, you'll find a series of quick wins. Wow, I didn't know that was an issue. That's a quick win. We can fix that. We can put that into place and build some great momentum. So let's jump in now and have a very, very quick look at the growth imperatives. Well, they're all up there. Let me do it this way. So the first frame I'd like to introduce here is this concept of lead, manage, coach. So when you put your principal leader hat on, effectively, I chunk it into these 3. We lead people, we manage things, and we coach for performance. So lead people, manage things, coach for performance. So as soon as we get clear on that, What I find needs increasing is the leading and the coaching. We tend to be good at this managing bit, and we default to this things bit. That could mean, and I think even a sales manager is the wrong title. Why? Because we're talking about managing the sales process as opposed to leading or coaching with it. So just a quick frame of reference. So when we talk leading, we lead with our vision, we lead with the brand, and we lead with our culture. So there are our three leadership frameworks to bring into play. From a projects point of view, we want to make sure we're managing our projects brilliantly well. By the way, I'm big, and I talked about this with a team yesterday, less projects implemented better will outperform a lot of projects implemented poorly. The process, we manage process, and clearly we manage the numbers. So as a framework of manage, that's where our focus is. And finally, we coach our people. We coach engagement, so how engaged they are, and we also coach them to be performing in the roles that they're actually playing, be it a sales role, a property management role, an operations role. We want to build momentum. Now, effectively, think of these as drawers. Each of these have sitting behind them, if we double click on them, a number of opportunities for us to look at. Your vision is either has a level of confusion to it or a level of clarity. Your brand is either stale or it's fresh for the market that you want to serve. Your culture is either a compliance-based culture or a committed culture where people are doing the things because they're truly committed to being great. Your projects are either noisy or they're in momentum. Your processes are either, you've got a hope process I hope it's going to work out okay, or you've got certainty the process will deliver the result. Your numbers are either poor or they are healthy. Your people are either a problem or they're an opportunity. Your engagement is either turning up or they're turned on, and performing, they're either underperforming or they're excelling in terms of what they're doing. Now, I'll just leave that up for a moment because you might want to take a big point. Had a couple of people jump into chat, so let me have a quick look. Thanks, Kim, appreciate it. So from a framework point of view, that's a very solid framework. So how would I utilize this? I'll just leave it up. I'll have a sip of tea. If you want to take a pic of it in color. By the way, would that be useful if I turn that into a poster and send it out to you? What do you think? Okay, all right. I'll organise that for you and get it sent out after the webinar today. Now, the hair's a bit crazy this morning, isn't it? Who would have thought? So how I'd recommend you use this is, if you wanted to, firstly, you can rate each of these from 1 to 10. So you say vision 1 to 10. What's our vision clarity? Our people, how many of them are in momentum? Are people turning up or are they turned on? So you could actually give yourself a rating in each of these areas. And what I'd say around this, and I'll just go back to it for a moment. What I'll say around this is, if you're, say, a 9 out of 10 in terms of brand, so that's clearly towards the fresh and away from the stale, or process, you go, yeah, I think there's real certainty in our process, then spending more time on something that you're really strong at may not be the best initiative. But if you look at, say, engagement, you go like, you know what, I think we've got a lot of people who are just turning up. They're just passengers on the journey as opposed to their performers wanting to make a difference. So that might be one that you rate yourself a 4 out of 10 on. Well, guess what? You've got work to do on the engagement side of things, and we need to actually re-engage our team so we can actually build momentum. So that's the design of this, to be able to bring this into play. So if you add this exercise with the team, by the way, you could just do this personally. You could just say, you know what, I don't feel I need the team's input on this one. I just want to do this personally. Or you might just have your leaders, your leadership team do this and say, where do you think we're at with this? And one of the things, and I talk about this in the SWOT document, I'll just jump back in the SWOT document, I do talk about this. I really would love you to, and caution and watch out if you are too hypersensitive as you're getting feedback in the SWOT, or you're too hypersensitive when someone says, you know, I'm rating our process a 4 out of 10. It's like, okay, the most important thing for you to do is to become almost a Columbo fascinated person. So, oh, tell me more about that. What do you mean exactly? As opposed to, I can't believe you said that. Blah, blah, blah. Because all of a sudden, if you go defensive, then you won't get the great information around helping, because what they're committed to is actually helping you grow and develop the business moving forward. Okay, so we've been through that framework. I think we're now at a good place to be able to zoom into to look at the planning process from there. Those couple of exercises are great to bring in the perspective. You might want to show them the current reality, desired reality model. Here's what we're building. Here's what we're going to. Definitely show them this. I'd love you to rate how do you think we are in these particular areas, and then do the SWOT analysis so you've got some great information coming in to build your plan. What we then want to do is to bring it into focus. Now, we spoke about this. I'm going to send that through to you, the SWOT, the key questions, and the overall strategy and document and process to put into play. Now what we do is we move into the planning process. So this is the link that we sent you, sent out to you. I would strongly recommend this is printed on an A3, not an A4. And then it's designed, as I think I've shown it to you here, it's designed as a threefold. So that means it fits in an organizer, it'll fit in an A4 notebook at the back of it. And the whole idea of this is to be able to go boom, 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 have the growth imperatives we've just looked at there, and also see these key learnings coming through. And then on the back of it, just a couple of little points, the leadership premium of authority, presence, and impact. I'm not going to go through that in too much detail. The Chief Energy Officer, the 10 leader habits that I've seen great leaders actually take on board. Culture's caught, not taught. A nice little frame of reference that any clients will know that is a constant saying of mine. And then down below, the 5 key questions to identify. These 5 key questions, by the way, are the questions I ask when I go into a team. And almost if you answer, the ultimate is answer all of these yes. If you're answering no to one of them, it probably is the issue getting in the way of team performance in terms of driving. So that's the design of it. So let's just jump back in, share this. Okay, great. So you can see it there as a framework. That's the outside of it. I think it's super important to go, what are the key learnings and insights? One of the leaders I'm working with in New Zealand had him go through and say, okay, what are all the insights you've learned through this process? Why? It's probably going to happen again in some particular way, shape, or form. So to have that in your toolkit of insights is super important. And then on the inside, I am a massive believer in the one-page plan. By the way, this is the business plan. We have one-page plan for agents. We have one-page plans for super teams and one-page plans for the property management team. Now, I'm suggesting this is for 12 months, and notice I've said but there are some of my clients that are doing a 6-month plan. And so this is a 6-month view with this. So I know we've got, key 12-month business goals. They've changed it to what do we want to achieve in the next 6 months. So you can modify this as you choose to, but I'm going to actually talk about this in the context of 12 months. So how does it work? On the right-hand side, what we've got here is, and it's got a question coming through. Excellent, great. Question coming on the right-hand side, what we've got here is, what's our vision? What are our 3-year goals and achievements? So this is throwing it out 3 years, and I love doing a 3-year view. By the way, if you grow your business at 27% per year over 3 years, you will have doubled the business in 3 years' time. It's one of our simple but super productive strategies there. So, what are we celebrating in 3 years' time? And you'll notice with each of these, what we've got are these cool little questions underneath. What's our purpose, our why? What are we celebrating in 3 years' time? Our growth strategy. What is our overall direction and focus? So this could be an example that you've made the decision that I would love to have a situation where we increase our property management portfolio. We want to grow into this particular marketplace in sales. We'd like to add this many people to the sales team. What's our overall growth strategy looking like? So if I was sitting down with you and I said, hey, what are the goals and achievements you'd like to be in 3 years' time? Where do you want to be in 3 years' time? Great point. Here, here, and here, just bullet points. And growth strategy, what's your overall growth strategy? Well, our growth strategy is we want to become dominant in this marketplace. We'd like to expand our capability in this area. We'd like to improve our ability here. By the way, we think there's a new division opportunity in new projects that could unfold as well in our marketplace, given there's a lot of warehouse redevelopment that's occurring. Great, excellent. So it's a real direction and centered and focus. And you may not share the full 3-year view with everyone in the team, but you definitely share your growth strategy with the team as to where it's heading. So our core values, why do I like having this on the plan? My belief is that your vision and your values should be the deciding, the benchmark as to the decisions you're going to make in terms of the projects and the goals that you actually want to achieve in the next 12 months. So, what do we stand for? What's important to us? Noting those down. Many of you have done that work, so this is simply putting it into your plan. And what's our brand positioning? What position do we choose or do we want to own in the marketplace? Once again, they might be bullet points or a statement that as to what we want to own. And then what's our culture plan? How do we want to enhance our culture even more? So this is a really cool framework on this right-hand side of the plan that gives us immense amount of clarity and focus looking at the bigger picture. So from there, let's leave those 2 columns on the right and head over to the left-hand side and say, okay, for us to achieve that out there in the future, our overall growth strategy and our vision, what are our key 12-month business goals? What are the ones that we want to achieve in the next 12 months? So once again, you just bullet point these down. And then below those, you'll see here we've gone into, so what are our key sales performance indicators and our key property management indicators there? So this actually goes through. And our primary market that we want to own is this. The market share we're going for is this. The number of sales transactions we want to achieve. The average sale price, average fee in terms of dollars and percentage. How many in the team, and productivity. Productivity for us, by the way, is transactions per team member that we're actually focused on. The reason I love that so much in our coaching model is it's a small number, and how do we actually enhance that? Similarly, in terms of PM, what's our primary target? How many managements do we want to have? What do we want our overall PM revenue to be? Our net growth overall in terms of numbers in the next 12 months. What's our average rental, our average fee? And by the way, in some markets, they're going to come down slightly in terms of the next 12 months. So we need to actually make sure we can manage that. Number of team members, and what do we want in terms of productivity of those team members. Once again, for me, productivity is the number of properties under management per property management team member. Now, you might do 2, per property manager and per property management team member. As you start to divide roles up, you probably want an overall to see, are we actually enhancing, improving our productivity? Now, a couple of questions coming through. Let me just do a quick check on those. That's all looking good. And I'll just do a quick chat check. Okay. Brilliant. Excellent. So the answer is yes to that, Kerry, by the way, that we do. So that's the framework and that's the structure. I'm going to move now into a little bit of a Q&A with this. Is there any questions that you've got coming through from what we've actually been through? It'll give me a chance to have a sip of tea. And my aim was truly today is to make sure that we can enhance the way that you're actually operating and putting things into go mode. So any questions or points of clarification that you'd like around it? It's a pretty simple process, but it does need the investment of time. My final thing that I want to cover off today is, if this has been of benefit to you, or you've heard some of the great work we're doing with our clients, and you think that you would like to advance the relationship with myself and with RER Network and what we're doing in the marketplace to enhance our clients' business, then I'd love to explore your business future. And it would be worthwhile investing some time for us to connect in a one-on-one situation and get a better sense of where you're heading and where the opportunity might lead us to in supporting you on that particular journey. So any questions coming through? I reckon you're good to go, guys. You actually got real clarity on this planning process. Can I just get a quick thumbs up that all made sense? All good with it? Excellent. All right, team. Well, I'm going to gift you back a little bit of time to get into go mode. I want to thank you so much for being on this particular session and allow me to walk through. Keep in mind, before you get to your plan, there's a couple of things for you to do in terms of those energy points. Bring the SWOT in place, having a look at those growth imperatives, starting to do some work behind the scenes, and then bringing in that simple one-page plan that you can then communicate to your team in such a way they're going to say, wow, this is the most clarity that we've had. So even we've had all this going on for the last 2, 3, 4 months, we're now in a place to be able to get into go mode to kick it into making it happen. So guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm literally very contactable and here to support great leaders like yourself on your journey of success, helping you navigate the market conditions that exist to achieve the best possible outcome for you, your team, your clients, building reputation, building the results that you're able to achieve. Thanks for tuning in, and bye for now.